The Valkyrie hardliners made their last stand. They assembled the largest fleet in their history. Every available ship, every weapon, every soldier willing to fight. Supreme Overlord Kraththul commanded personally. "We will burn Earth to ash," he declared. "Let it be a warning for all time. Resistance is death." Admiral Taeyang received the warning about the massive fleet. Intelligence showed 10,000 enemy ships heading toward Earth. The final battle was coming. He gathered his own forces near Jupiter. Ships from 20 different species. Not as many as the Valkyrie, but enough. Enough to make it hurt. The Battle of Jovian space began at dawn. Both sides held nothing back. Every weapon fired. Every tactic employed. Space filled with fire and death. Ships exploded like dying stars. The fighting raged across Jupiter's moons, Io Europa, Ganymede. Each one became a battlefield. The Valkyrie had superior numbers. They pressed forward with overwhelming force. But humanity and allies fought with perfect coordination. Every species contributed their strengths. Vrillin ships provided reconnaissance. Korath vessels served as heavy assault. Humans coordinated everything with tactical brilliance learned through countless wars. Commander Jiwan led her squadron on the war's most dangerous mission. She would fly through Jupiter's atmosphere and emerge behind the Valkyrie flagship. The gas giant's storms would destroy most ships, but Jiwan's pilots were the best. If anyone could survive Jupiter, they could. They dove into the clouds. Jupiter's winds tore at their fighters. Lightning struck their shields. The pressure threatened to crush their hulls. 2 pilots died in the storm. 3 more were forced to retreat. But Jiwan and her remaining squadron pushed through. They emerged exactly where planned, directly behind Supreme Overlord Kraththul's flagship. The Valkyrie flagship was massive, 10 kilometers long, armed with weapons that could glass planets. But its engines were exposed. Jiwan smiled inside her helmet. She armed every weapon she had. "Fire everything," she ordered. Her squadron obeyed. Missiles struck the flagship's engines. Explosions rippled along its hull. The great ship tried to turn but was too slow. Secondary explosions followed. The command deck breached. Supreme Overlord Kraththul died instantly. His last thought was probably confusion. How did primitives do this? With their leader dead and flagship destroyed, the Valkyrie fleet lost coordination. Ships broke formation. Some retreated. Others continued fighting. But organization collapsed. Admiral Taeyang pressed the advantage. His forces struck like a hammer. 3 days of continuous battle. Finally, the Valkyrie fleet broke completely. The survivors fled. For the first time in 500 years, the Valkyrie Dominion suffered total military defeat. Not a tactical retreat, not a strategic withdrawal, complete and utter defeat. The news spread across the galaxy at light speed. The unbeatable empire was beaten by humans and their allies. The impossible happened. The war officially ended 3 weeks later. Valkyrie moderates overthrew the remaining hardliners. They sued for peace immediately. The Treaty of Geneva was signed on Earth. Representatives from 47 liberated species attended. The terms were harsh but fair. The Valkyrie Dominion would be dissolved. War criminals would face trial. Reparations would be paid. Military forces would be reduced to defensive levels only. Commander Daiwan led the occupation of the Valkyrie homeworld. Walking through their capital city was strange. The buildings were beautiful. The people looked ordinary, not monsters, just people who believed their empire was right and natural. He realized something important. Evil was not born. It was taught. The Valkyrie could learn different lessons now. Many humans wanted revenge. They demanded Valkyrie blood. Mass executions, destruction of their worlds. Dr. Hana fought against this. "We did not fight to become them," she said in speeches across Earth. "We fought to prove we are better. Justice, yes. Revenge, no. There is a difference. It was not easy. People lost families, lost homes, lost everything. Forgiveness seemed impossible. But Dr. Hana was persuasive. She reminded everyone of human history, how cycles of revenge destroyed civilizations, how justice brought lasting peace. Slowly, people listened. War criminals were prosecuted, but genocide was rejected. The Galactic Coalition for Free Peoples was established 5 years after the war ended. Earth served as headquarters. Admiral Bo Young became its first Secretary General. She was 73 now, gray hair, tired eyes, but still strong. Her first speech was simple. "We fought for freedom. Now we must protect it. for all species. Forever. Admiral Taeyang retired from military service. He was 50 years old and looked 70. War-aged people. He thought he would rest. Instead, he was elected to the Coalition Council. People wanted leaders who understood sacrifice, who knew the cost of freedom. Taeyang knew it better than most. At his confirmation hearing, a young alien delegate asked him a question. How did humanity resist when so many others fell? What made you different? Taeyang thought carefully before answering. He wanted to get it right. We are not special, he said. We are weak. Our bodies break easily. We have no natural weapons. By all logic, we should have died out long ago. But we have something the Valkyrie did not understand. We refuse to quit. Throughout our history, humans faced extinction. Disease, war, natural disasters. We failed countless times. But we always got back up. That is not courage. That is stubbornness. And stubbornness wins wars. Commander Jiwan commanded the Coalition's rapid response fleet. She patrolled former Dominion space, making sure no new empire rose. Her hair showed gray streaks now. Battle scars marked her face, but her eyes still held fire, ready to fight if needed, hoping she would not need to. Commander Daewon trained multi-species special forces, teaching them human tactics, how to fight when outgunned, how to win against superior enemies. He thought about his lost family often. They would be proud, not of the killing, of the peace he helped build after. Dr. Hana ran the Coalition's diplomatic corps, teaching conflict resolution to species who only knew conquest or submission. It was hard work. Old hatreds died slowly, but progress happened. Former enemies became allies. Former slaves became equals. The galaxy was healing. A young Vrillan soldier asked his elder about the war. The elder was Tekriz, scarred veteran who first contacted humanity. What were humans like? The young one asked. Tekriz clicked his mandibles thoughtfully. Humans are strange, Tekriz said. Individually weak. Their bodies break easily. By logic, they should not survive. But they refuse to accept defeat. They adapt faster than any species I know. They turn weakness into strength. They turn disaster into opportunity. Most importantly, when they fight for something bigger than themselves. Not glory, not conquest, freedom, the freedom of all beings. Are they still like that? The young soldier asked. Tekriz laughed. Go to Earth, meet them yourself. But I warn you, once you befriend a human, they never abandon you. That loyalty terrifies their enemies. It should comfort you as their ally. Earth looked beautiful from orbit. Blue and green, scarred by war but unbroken. Ships from 100 worlds came and went. Trade, diplomacy, tourism. The age of galactic tyranny was over. The age of cooperation began. Born in fire and blood, yes, but real humanity once faced extinction. A powerful empire came to conquer them. Everyone expected humans to fall quickly. Instead, humanity taught the galaxy important lessons. Tyrants could be beaten. Freedom was worth fighting for. Unity was stronger than empire. And sometimes the weakest species was actually the most dangerous. On Earth, people lived normal lives again. Children played. Couples married. Businesses opened. The war was becoming history. Memories that would be taught to future generations. Remember when the aliens came, grandparents would say. Remember how we stood together? Remember that we won. Admiral Taeyang stood at the memorial for the fallen. 300 million humans died in the war. Billions more across allied species. Every name was carved into the black stone walls. He found his crew members who did not survive. Young faces frozen in memory. He saluted them. Your deaths bought freedom, he whispered. We will not waste it. The galaxy changed because humanity refused to surrender. Not through superior technology. Not through greater numbers. Through simple, stubborn defiance. The Valkyrie learned too late that humans were dangerous. Not because they were strong, because they would not quit. And now humanity stood as the galaxy's unlikely guardian. Not through dominance. Not through fear. But through the example they set. Freedom was possible. Tyranny could be resisted. Unity could defeat empire. These were human gifts to the galaxy. Bought with blood. Worth the price. The story of the Valkyrie invasion became legend, told across countless worlds, taught to children as history. The details changed with each telling. But the core truth remained. Once aliens came to conquer Earth, they thought humans would be easy prey. They were wrong. Humanity fought back. Humanity won, and the galaxy was never the same. In the end, the cosmic battle was not just about survival. It was about proving something fundamental, that even the smallest, weakest species could stand against the largest empire, that courage and cleverness could defeat raw power, that freedom was not given. It was taken and held, and protected, forever. 9 months after the invasion began, the Velkari Dominion faced something it never experienced before. Total war across multiple systems, rebellions everywhere, supply lines collapsing, fleets stretched impossibly thin, and at the center of it all humanity, still fighting, still winning. Admiral Taeyang commanded a fleet that looked like a space carnival, ships from 7 different species, each one different in design and purpose. Some could barely communicate with each other, but they all understood one language, the language of freedom, and they all wanted to speak it to the Velkari. His tactics became legendary. Strike a convoy here, destroy a base there. Never stay in one place. Never give the enemy a clear target. The Velkari called him the Ghost Admiral. Taeyang liked that name. Ghosts haunted the guilty. The Velkari had much to be guilty for. The aliens tried to adapt. They studied human tactics and implemented countermeasures. But every time they learned one lesson, humans taught them another. This frustrated the Velkari commanders. How could such a primitive species fight so effectively? The answer was simple. Humans learned from thousands of years of war. The Velkari learned from hundreds of years of easy conquest. Experience mattered. The Velkari response grew more brutal. They executed prisoners. They bombed civilian populations. They hoped terror would break the resistance. It achieved the opposite effect. Every atrocity created more rebels. Every murdered innocent became a recruiting poster. The Velkari were teaching the galaxy to hate them. Commander Daewon led the assault to retake Mars. The Red Planet served as a major Velkari base. Recapturing it would be symbolic and strategic both. The battle lasted 3 brutal months, fighting in pressurized domes where a single breach meant death. Urban combat in low gravity, close quarters. No mercy, the Velkari were better armed and better armored. But humans knew Mars, every tunnel, every maintenance shaft, every weak point in the dome structure. Daewon used this knowledge ruthlessly. His soldiers struck from unexpected angles. They used the environment as a weapon. The aliens fought by the book. Humans rewrote the book. During one battle, a young Velkari soldier surrendered to Daewon. The alien was terrified. It babbled in broken human language. We did not know. We thought you were primitives. Easy conquest. They told us we would be heroes. Now we just want to go home. Daewon looked at the scared soldier and felt something unexpected. Not anger. Not hatred. Pity. This alien was just following orders. It believed the propaganda. Most soldiers did. He realized the Velkari people were not all evil. Just their leaders. And their system. That system needed to die. Mars fell to human forces. The liberation was costly. Thousands died on both sides. But the victory was worth it. For the first time, the Velkari lost a major occupied world. Not abandoned, not evacuated, conquered, taken by force. The news spread across the galaxy instantly. Lieutenant Ji-won, promoted to commander now, led increasingly bold raids. Her latest mission targeted a Velkari dreadnought. The ship was massive, carried enough firepower to destroy a planet. It seemed impossible to kill. Ji-won proved otherwise. She loaded a cargo ship with nuclear weapons. Then she accelerated it to 0.3 light speed. The ship became a kinetic missile. The dreadnought tried to shoot it down but failed. Physics was physics. Mass times velocity equals death. The explosion was so bright that Earth saw it without telescopes. Ji-won radioed back to base. One less dreadnought. Who's next? Dr. Hana continued her information warfare. She was now famous across the galaxy. The voice of freedom, they called her. The Velkari put a huge bounty on her head. Hana treated it like a badge of honor. If they hate me this much, she said, I must be doing something right. Her broadcasts reached deep into Velkari territory. She told stories of the conquered peoples, their histories, their cultures, their suffering under Dominion rule. She made the victims real, not just numbers, not statistics, people. The psychological impact was devastating. Some Velkari soldiers deserted. Others refused orders. A few even defected to the resistance. Cracks appeared in the Velkari command structure. Some admirals wanted to negotiate. Others demanded total escalation. The debate turned violent. Accusations flew. Blame was assigned. Unity collapsed. An admiral named Corthell attempted a coup. He argued that continuing the war would destroy the Empire. Better to negotiate while they still could. Corthell reached out to Admiral Taeyang through secret channels. The alien admiral spoke carefully. "I am not your friend," Corthell said. "But I recognize reality. Your species cannot be conquered. Every day we fight, we grow weaker. Let us end this war. Withdraw our forces. Accept terms. Save what remains of both our civilizations." Taeyang brought the offer to Admiral Boyoung. The old commander was skeptical. This could be a trap. It could be weakness masquerading as wisdom. They debated for hours. Finally, Taeyang suggested a response. "We do not negotiate as equals. We dictate terms. Total Velkari withdrawal from all occupied systems. War crimes trials, reparations, complete dismantling of their military for 20 years. Take it or leave it." Before Corthell could respond, hardline Velkari officers assassinated him. They called him a traitor. The coup failed, but the assassination proved something important. The Dominion was eating itself. Civil war seemed inevitable. Corthell's faction did not disappear. They continued working in secret. More Velkari commanders questioned the war. Resources were depleted. Public support was gone. The conquered species all rebelled. The situation was unsustainable. But the hardliners refused to see reality. They demanded victory or death. The Velkari Civil War erupted 3 weeks later. Corthell's supporters attacked the High Command directly. Fleet fought fleet. Soldiers turned on soldiers. The Dominion tore itself apart while humanity and allies pressed their advantage. It was beautiful in a terrible way. Commander Daewon watched reports of the Velkari Civil War and felt conflicted. Part of him enjoyed seeing the enemy destroy itself. Another part remembered that young soldier on Mars, the one who just wanted to go home. War did not have heroes and villains, just people trying to survive, except for the leaders. Leaders who started wars were always villains. Dr. Hana intensified her broadcasts. She spoke to both Velkari factions now, telling the moderates that humanity would accept honorable peace, telling the hardliners that they would die if they continued fighting. Different messages for different audiences. Information warfare at its finest. Admiral Boyoung called another war council. The map showed Velkari space in chaos. Their empire was dying, but dying empires were dangerous, like wounded animals. The question was simple. Press the attack and risk heavy casualties, or wait for the enemy to collapse on its own. Boyoung made her decision. We press forward. Every day we wait costs allied lives on occupied worlds. We end this now. The final campaign began. Human and allied forces moved against remaining Velkari positions, not with hatred, not with cruelty, with determination. This war needed to end. Too many died already. Too much was destroyed. Time to finish it. Commander Jiwon led her squadrons in one last major battle. The enemy fought desperately now. No formations, no tactics, just survival instinct. It was almost sad. The mighty Velkari Dominion reduced to this, but Jiwon did not allow pity to stay her hand. They came to Earth seeking easy conquest. They found hard war. Now they would learn the price of aggression. The Velkari Empire trembled. It would fall soon. Everyone knew it. The question was not if, only when, and how many more would die before the end finally came. Humanity stood ready to answer both questions. With patience, with strength. With the knowledge that they fought not for glory but for freedom, and freedom was worth any price. The war changed after the first month. Humanity stopped defending and started attacking. This confused the Velkari more than anything else. In their 300 conquests, no species ever counterattacked. Conquered peoples did not strike back. They either surrendered or died. Humans did neither. Admiral Boyoung called her commanders to a secret meeting. The holographic table showed the solar system. Red dots marked Velkari positions. Blue dots showed human forces. There were far more red dots. But Boyoung was smiling. "We are going to do something crazy," she said. "We are going to attack them." Captain Taeyang volunteered immediately. "Give me the fastest ships and the bravest crews," he said. "I will make them afraid of the dark." Boyoung approved his plan. It was dangerous. Maybe impossible, definitely necessary. Taeyang gathered a strange fleet. Not warships. Those were too slow. Instead, he took cargo haulers, racing yachts, and experimental fighters. Anything fast. Speed was armor. Speed was weapon. The Velkari had powerful ships. Humans would have fast ones. The target was the Valkyrie staging base near Neptune. The aliens thought it was safe far from Earth. They stored fuel there. Repair facilities. Supply depots. Everything needed for a long occupation. Tae-yang planned to burn it all. Lieutenant Ji-won commanded the fighter escort. Her pilots were exhausted. 2 months of constant battle left everyone running on coffee and rage. But when she told them the mission, they volunteered instantly. A chance to hurt the enemy badly? Sign us up, they said. The journey took 5 days. They flew dark, all systems minimal. The Valkyrie sensors were good, but not perfect. Human ships slipped through gaps in the detection grid. They reached Neptune's orbit undetected. The alien base floated there, huge and undefended. The Valkyrie never imagined humans could reach it. Tae-yang gave the order. Hit everything. His fleet attacked with everything they had. Missiles struck fuel tanks. Explosions rippled across the station. Alien ships docked there died before they could launch. The repair facilities collapsed in flames. Within 30 minutes, the base was destroyed. The Valkyrie responded too late. Their defense fleet arrived to find ruins and fleeing human ships. They gave chase but could not catch the faster vessels. Ji-won's fighters provided rear guard, dancing just out of range. The aliens were furious. Furious enemies made mistakes. News of the raid spread fast. On Earth, people celebrated. In space, other human forces grew bolder. If one base could fall, others could too. More raids followed. Small attacks, hit and run, never giving the Valkyrie a clear target. Death by 1,000 cuts. Back on Earth, Dr. Hana studied captured Valkyrie technology. She worked with a team of scientists and engineers. What they found was surprising. Alien weapons were powerful but simple. Their ships were fast but fragile. The Valkyrie won through overwhelming force, not clever engineering. Human technology was different. Weaker, yes, but more adaptable. Humans designed tools that could be modified and improved. The Valkyrie designed tools that could not be changed. Perfect for conquest. Terrible for innovation. Hana realized humanity's weakness was actually a strength. Humans had to innovate to survive. The Valkyrie never needed to. Commander Daewon trained new soldiers using lessons from Seoul. Urban warfare. Ambush tactics. Psychological operations. The old military rules did not work against the Valkyrie. So humans wrote new rules. Every soldier became a teacher. Experience passed down quickly. Adapt or die. 3 months into the war, Dr. Hana made another discovery. While studying Valkyrie communications, she found messages in other languages. Not human. Not Valkyrie. Other species. The Dominion ruled hundreds of worlds. Most of those worlds still had living populations. Slaves, workers, soldiers forced to serve. Hana started broadcasting to these species. Messages of hope. Of resistance. She told them about Earth. About humans who refused to surrender. About the Valkyrie losing battles. The messages asked for help. Any help. Information, sabotage, anything to weaken the common enemy. The first response came from the Vrillen, an insectoid species enslaved 2 centuries ago. Their representative called itself Tekris. It sent a message to Earth through secret channels. "We heard you fight," Tekris said. "We have wanted to fight too, but we are weak alone. Together perhaps we are strong." Admiral Bo Young met with Tekris through video link. The alien looked like a giant mantis covered in scars. Battle wounds from fighting its own people's lost war against the Valkyrie. "If we help you," Tekris said, "will you help us later?" Bo Young did not hesitate, yes. Freedom for all or freedom for none, the alliance formed in secret. The Vrillen provided intelligence on Valkyrie fleet movements, weak points in their formations, supply routes. In exchange, humanity shared weapons technology and tactical knowledge. How to fight when outgunned, how to resist when outmatched. How to be human, more species made contact. The Korath, the Scylan, the Brev, all conquered peoples, all enslaved, all angry. The Valkyrie Dominion looked unbreakable from outside. From inside it was full of cracks. Humanity became the hammer to widen those cracks. Captain Tae-yang led another raid, this time with Vrillen intelligence. They hit 3 Valkyrie supply convoys in 1 week. Perfect ambushes. The aliens never saw them coming. Tae-yang's fleet grew as other species contributed ships. It was no longer a human fleet. It was a resistance fleet. The Valkyrie command realized their problem too late. They came to conquer one species. Now they faced rebellion across a dozen worlds. Their fleet spread thin, trying to maintain order everywhere, which meant they maintained order nowhere. Lieutenant Ji-won flew missions with alien pilots now. The Vrillin were natural flyers. The Korath were fearless. Together, they developed combined tactics that no single species could match. Ji-won thought it was funny. The Velkari wanted to show the galaxy their power. Instead, they taught the galaxy to work together against them. 4 months after the invasion began, Earth received a Velkari peace offer, a temporary ceasefire to negotiate. Admiral Bo-young laughed when she read it. She sent a reply. No ceasefires. No negotiations. Full withdrawal from Earth and all occupied worlds. Total surrender. Nothing less acceptable. The Velkari were shocked by this response. They were offering peace. How dare the humans refuse? They did not understand. Humanity was not fighting for survival anymore. Humans were fighting for revenge. And to teach the galaxy an important lesson, bullies could be beaten. Commander Daewon stood on the roof of a Seoul building watching the sky. Alien ships still circled overhead. The city was still scarred from battle, but people walked the streets again. Children played. Life continued. He thought about his lost family. They would have been proud, not of the killing, of the defiance. Dr. Hana continued broadcasting her messages. Each day, more species responded. The Velkari Dominion was crumbling, not from human weapons, from human ideas. The idea that conquest was not natural, the idea that slavery was not acceptable, the idea that freedom was worth dying for. Ideas were more dangerous than any bomb. The war was far from over. Many battles remained. Many deaths awaited. But momentum shifted. The Velkari came to Earth expecting an easy win. Instead, they found a fight that would break their empire. Humanity did not just defend their world. They started a revolution, and revolutions once started, The stars disappeared first. That was what people remembered most about the day the aliens came. One moment, the night sky over Seoul blazed with distant suns. The next moment, massive shadows blocked them out. Ships, thousands of them, each one larger than Earth's biggest city. Captain Tae-Yang Kim stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, humanity's pride and joy. The warship floated near Mars, running routine patrols. His coffee went cold in his hand as the sensors screamed warnings. The screen showed red dots everywhere, too many to count. A young officer turned to him, face pale. The captain understood why. In his 35 years, Tae-Yang had seen combat. He survived the Mars Wars when colonies fought for independence. He thought he knew fear. He was wrong. This was different. This was extinction looking humanity in the face. The communication channels exploded with noise. Every language humans spoke all at once. Panic from Earth, confusion from the moon bases, terror from the mining stations. Then silence. A new voice cut through everything. It spoke in perfect human language, though the accent belonged to no nation on Earth. The message was simple. The Velkari Dominion had arrived. Humanity would surrender within 72 hours. Resistance meant death. The aliens made it sound like a weather report. Just facts. Cold and final. Back on Earth, Dr. Hana Yoon listened to the broadcast 17 times. She was 29 years old and the smartest person in the xenolinguistics department. Her job was studying potential alien languages. Now she had real aliens to study, and they spoke human words with inhuman meaning. Hana noticed something others missed. The way the Velkari spoke showed patterns. They used words like inevitable and absolute too often. They talked like they never lost before. Their confidence was total. She wondered if that confidence was also a weakness. Commander Daewon Park stood in the Seoul Defense Center, watching holographic maps. At 42, he was older than most soldiers. His face carried scars from battles he never talked about. He lost his wife and daughter in an accident 5 years ago. Since then, fighting was all he had left. Now he had something worth fighting for again. Revenge. The Velkari proved their strength on the second day. They picked a small mining station near Jupiter. 10,000 people lived there, families, workers, children. One alien ship fired once. The station became dust. The silence after was louder than any scream. Earth's leaders held emergency meetings. Some wanted to surrender immediately. Why die fighting the impossible? Others argued for negotiation. Maybe the aliens would show mercy. But Admiral Bo-young Choi, the 58-year-old Supreme Commander, stood firm. Her silver hair and steady voice commanded respect. She gave a speech that echoed across every human settlement. Her words were simple but powerful. Humanity did not kneel, not to kings, not to tyrants, not to aliens. If the Velkari wanted Earth, they would pay for every inch of dirt with blood. Human blood, yes, but alien blood too. Lieutenant Ji-Won Lee was 26 and flying combat missions when most people her age worked office jobs. She was the youngest squadron leader in history. Some called her reckless. Others called her brilliant. She called herself lucky. Her fighter jet danced through space like it was born there. Ji-Won volunteered for the first reconnaissance mission. She took her squadron close to the alien fleet. Closer than was safe. Closer than was sane. Her cameras recorded everything. The alien ships were beautiful in a terrible way. Smooth metal surfaces that seemed to absorb light. Weapons that looked more like art than death machines. But Ji-Won saw something important. The ships moved in perfect formation. Too perfect, like dancers following music only they could hear. It meant they probably followed strict patterns. Patterns could be predicted. Predictions could be exploited. The 72 hours counted down like a bomb timer. On Earth, people said goodbye to loved ones. They prayed to their gods. They held their children close. Some ran to hidden bunkers. Others stood on rooftops, staring at the sky, daring the aliens to come. Captain Tae Yang gathered his crew. Most of them were young. Too young for what was coming. He looked at their faces and saw fear, yes, but also determination. Humans were good at many things. Surrender was not one of them. He spoke quietly without grand speeches or false promises. The fight ahead would be hard. Many would die. Maybe all of them would die, but they would die making the aliens regret ever finding Earth. Every human ship destroyed would take alien ships with it. Every human life lost would cost the enemy blood and time and resources. Dr. Hana worked without sleep, analyzing every word the Velkari broadcast. She built a picture of their culture from language alone. They conquered 300 civilizations. They ruled 1,000 worlds. They never faced real resistance. Every species they found either surrendered fast or died fast. This disturbed Hana more than the threats. The Velkari did not understand war the way humans did. For them, war was quick. Overwhelming force applied once. Victory certain. They never fought a species that kept fighting after losing. They never met humans before. Commander Dae-won trained his soldiers for urban combat. The aliens would land troops eventually. Seoul's streets would become battlegrounds. Every building a fortress. Every window a sniper position. The Velkari thought they would fight human armies in open battle. Dae-won would teach them about guerrilla warfare instead. The final hours arrived. Earth held its breath. The Velkari sent one last message. Surrender now or burn. Admiral Bo Young sent humanity's reply. Just 2 words. Come try. The alien fleet moved. Thousands of ships advancing like a metal tide. They expected fear. They expected submission. They expected victory. What they got was humanity. Lieutenant Ji-Won led the first attack. Her squadron was small. 50 fighters against a fleet of thousands. Suicide mission, some called it. Ji-Won called it target practice. Her fighters dove into the alien formation, weapons blazing. The Velkari had stronger ships. Humans had better pilots. She noticed it immediately. The aliens reacted slowly to unexpected moves. They followed their formations even when it made no tactical sense. 3 Velkari cruisers died in the first minute because they stayed in formation instead of dodging. Ji-Won smiled inside her helmet. The enemy was powerful but predictable. Captain Tae Yang watched the battle displays and understood. The Velkari won through raw power, not skill. They never needed skill before. Humans were weaker but smarter. If humanity could survive the first attacks, they might find ways to win. The battle for Earth began. Explosions lit up space like new stars being born. Human ships fought with desperate courage. Velkari ships advanced with absolute confidence. The outcome seemed certain. But humanity had something the aliens did not understand. Hope. And humans could do terrible things when they had hope. As the first day of war ended, both sides counted losses. The Velkari lost more ships than expected. Not many, but more than 0. More than they lost conquering any other species. Admiral Bo Young looked at the reports and allowed herself a small smile. The aliens came expecting easy victory. Instead, they found a fight. And humans were very, very good at fighting. The war entered its second week, and space around Earth looked like a graveyard. Broken ships floated everywhere. Some human, some alien. The dead did not care who won anymore. But the living still fought. Lieutenant Ji-won flew her 15th mission in 7 days. Her fighter jet bore scorch marks from near misses. Her squadron started with 50 pilots. Now 23 remained. Every face she knew from training was either dead or missing. She stopped learning new pilot names. It hurt less that way, but Ji-won discovered something valuable. The Valkyrie ships had blind spots in their sensor arrays, small areas where their scanners could not see. She figured out why. The aliens used standardized military designs. Every ship built exactly the same way. Efficiency over flexibility. It made their fleet predictable. She developed new tactics. Human fighters approached from the blind angles. They struck fast and vanished before the aliens could respond. It was like fighting a giant with a knife. You could not win through strength, but you could make them bleed. 3 Valkyrie cruisers died to these tactics before the enemy adapted. They repositioned their formations to cover the blind spots. Ji-won smiled when she heard. The aliens were learning. That meant they were scared. Scared enemies made mistakes. Captain Tae-yang commanded the Indomitable from the shadows. Literally. He hid his ship behind Earth's satellites and debris fields. The Valkyrie had better sensors and bigger guns. But Tae-yang had something better. He knew every piece of junk floating in Earth's orbit. He used them as shields and weapons both. When alien ships came close, Tae-yang fired from unexpected angles. Then his ship moved to a new hiding spot before they could return fire. The Valkyrie grew frustrated. They expected straightforward battle. Instead, they faced guerrilla warfare in space. Human tactics made no sense to them, which was exactly the point. Despite the clever fighting, humanity was losing. The math was simple and cruel. For every alien ship destroyed, Earth lost 10. The defensive fleet shrank daily. Soon, nothing would stop the Valkyrie from reaching Earth's surface. The invasion came on day 16. The sky over Seoul turned dark with drop pods. Thousands of them fell like deadly rain. Each pod carried 50 Valkyrie soldiers. Commander Daewon watched from his command post and felt cold satisfaction. Finally, he could fight enemies he could see. The aliens expected quick victory, take the capital cities, break human morale, accept surrender. They studied human history and saw that civilizations collapsed when their cities fell. What they did not understand was that humans learned from history too. Seoul became a death trap. Every street corner hid explosives. Every building housed snipers. The aliens advanced in perfect military formation. Daewon's forces melted away before them, then attacked from behind. The Valkyrie had superior weapons and armor. Humans had home advantage and nothing to lose. The battle raged for 3 days. The Valkyrie took massive casualties. They won ground slowly, paying for each block with blood. Their commanders sent angry messages to their fleet. This was not supposed to happen. Conquered species did not fight like this. On the 4th day, Daewon's soldiers captured a wounded Valkyrie warrior. The alien was tall, nearly 7 feet with gray skin and too many joints in its arms. It looked at the humans with what might have been confusion. The translator device on its chest spoke human words. "Why do you fight?" it asked. "You cannot win." Daewon stared at the alien. "Because you are in my city," he said simply. The Valkyrie seemed genuinely puzzled by this answer. Dr. Hana arrived to question the prisoner. She spent hours talking with it, learning, understanding. The Valkyrie warrior was not cruel or evil. It simply followed orders. Its people conquered for 300 years. They believed conquest was natural. Resistance was madness. Hana asked the important question. "How many wars has your species fought?" The alien thought carefully. "We fought 200 species for control of our home system. That was 400 years ago. Since then, we have conquered, not fought. There is a difference. This information changed everything. The Valkyrie Dominion was powerful, yes, but they forgot how to actually fight. They only knew how to conquer weak opponents. Humanity was different. Humans fought wars for thousands of years. Against each other. Against nature. Against impossible odds. Humans knew war like fish knew water." Hana shared this discovery with Admiral Bo Young. The old commander understood immediately. The Valkyrie had a fatal weakness. They were not prepared for a long war. Their logistics assumed quick victories. Their soldiers trained for occupation, not combat. Their strategy was all hammer and no finesse. Bo Young changed Earth's strategy. Stop trying to win battles. Make the war last longer, plead the aliens slowly. Every day humanity survived made the Velkari weaker. Not physically, psychologically. Doubt was a poison and time was its delivery method. Dr. Hana started a new mission. She broadcast messages directly to Velkari ships, speaking their language, telling them about humanity, thousands of years of war, empires rising and falling, humans killed by the millions yet never surrendered, atomic bombs that destroyed cities but not human will. You picked the wrong species, she told them. We do not know how to quit. The messages seemed small, just words, but words were weapons too. Seeds of doubt planted in enemy minds. 3 weeks into the war, cracks appeared in the Velkari formation. Ships took longer to respond to orders. Some retreated when they should have advanced. Coordination failures increased. The perfect military machine was breaking down. Captain Taeyang saw his opportunity. He gathered every remaining human ship for one massive attack. It was desperate. Probably suicidal. Definitely necessary. Using captured Velkari codes that Hana decoded, he identified the enemy command ships. The attack happened at dawn. 50 human ships against 500 alien vessels. But those 50 ships all targeted the same points. The Velkari command structure. For 20 minutes, space burned. When the smoke cleared, 3 alien admirals were dead. Human casualties were heavy. 20 ships destroyed, but the exchange was worth it. The Velkari fleet fell into chaos. Without clear command, ships fell back on training, which meant rigid formations and predictable tactics. Exactly what humanity could exploit. For the first time since the war began, alien ships retreated. Not destroyed, not damaged, just retreating. On Earth, people emerged from bunkers to see the sky clearing. The drop pods stopped falling. The alien ground forces, cut off from orbital support, dug in defensively. Commander Daewon pressed his advantage. Seoul was still a war zone, but now humans were winning. Lieutenant Ji-won led a bombing run on isolated Velkari positions. Her squadron faced light resistance. The aliens seemed hesitant, confused. She understood why. They came expecting easy victory. Instead, they found hell. Admiral Bo-young addressed all of humanity. Her message was short. We survived. More than that. We hurt them. The Velkari thought we would break. We did not. Now they know. Humans do not break, we adapt. We fight, we win. This is not over. But we proved something today. Earth will not fall. The first month of war ended. Casualty numbers were terrible. Hundreds of millions dead, entire cities destroyed. But humanity still stood. More importantly, the Velkari were afraid now. Fear was a weapon, and humans just learned how to use it against their enemies. The cosmic battle was far from over. In fact, it was just beginning.